Hi guys, welcome back again. So today is day 29 of the 100 days of cloud for the AWS. So yesterday we finished for day 28. Today is day 29. So here the title is Establishing Secure Communication Between Public and Private VPS via VPC peering. So we have to create, peering connection between the VPCs. All right, so let's go. This one, I don't need that. Okay, so you can simply understand it like this. We have the public VPC and then we have the private VPC. For example, like this. So this is the private. All right. So this is a public VPC. And this is the private VPC. All right. Okay, so this is the public VPC. PUBLNC public VPC. And let me change the color. So between these two VPC, we have to do the peering communication like this. This is peering communication. Let me do a bit. All right. Okay, so we will read the given instruction. Okay, before we start to read, let me copy all of this content right here. All right, that's great. So let me move right here. So here, the Natalia's DevOps team has been tasked with demonstrating the use of VPC peering to enable communication between two VPCs. So one VPC will be a private VPC that contains a private EC2 instance, and the other will be the default public VPC containing a publicly accessible EC2 instance. So on the public VPC, we have the EC2 instance. So like this. All right. So this is the publicly accessible EC2 instance on the public VPC. So on the private VPC, in the private VPC, we have the private EC2 instance. So that's a private, not public. Okay, I will change the red color. All right. So this is the private VPC layer. So this is the instance layer. You can think of like this, for example. And this is the private VPC. Oh. Okay, so this is a private VPC and this is the public EC2 instance. Let me change the color. Okay. Okay, this is a public EC2 instance. So this is a private EC2 instance. That's great. Okay, we will keep reading right here. So there is already an existing EC2 instance in the public VPC. So here EC2 instance name is, so here name is xfusion public EC2. So here the EC2 instance name is xfusion public-EC2. And here also there is already an existing private VPC. So private VPC name is here, xfusion-private-vpc. This is not EC2 instance names. Remember this. So this is a private VPC name. So private VPC name is here xfusion-private-vpc here. That would be red color. And also CIDR range is here 10.1.0.0/16. So we need to keep in mind this CIDR range. Okay, this is the private VPC CIDR range. Okay, we will keep reading. there is already an existing subnet. So subnet is within the xfusion-private-vpc. So xfusion-private-vpc, here subnet name is private subnet right here. So this is a subnet layer. Okay, you can think of like this. Wait. Okay, let me paste right here. So this is the subnet layer within the private VPC. So even within the private subnet layer, so we have the private EC2 instance. So subnet name is here xfusion. Oh, sorry. Okay. So this is subnet name, and here CIDR range is 10.1.1.0/24. So here is all the CIDR range of the subnet. Alright, so that's great. So we keep reading here for that. Number 4 is there is already an existing EC2 instance in the private subnet. So in the private subnet we have the EC2 instance. So EC2 instance name is here xfusion-private-vpc, right? Alright, that's great. So here we have to create a peering connection between the default VPC and the private VPC. Okay, so let me find the correct command that we have to run on the AWS client. Sorry for my background noise. I cannot control that. And how to create, so from the CentOS terminal. Alright, so I will run this command. So when you check out this command, you will see that this is the VPC ID, and also this is the VPC ID. So the first VPC ID is from the private VPC ID. So the second one is the public VPC ID. So before we run this command, we need to know these two values for the VPC IDs. Okay, so how do we get the VPC ID? So I have to find it again. So I have to find the VPC ID first. So how to get the public VPC ID or AWS from the CentOS terminal. So let me find like that. So to be more accurate, I will give the name. So public VPC is not mentioned about the public VPC name. So okay. Let me run this. I think this is not correct command. This instance ID, yeah, this is not correct. Public VPC ID or AWS. Okay, let me check with this one. Okay, so we got two values. One is for the private and one is for the public. But here it is hard to check for the correct one. Probably this is for private, probably this is for the public. We cannot guess correctly, so we made to sure that. Alright, so I will do the. We don't know that public VPC name, but we know that private VPC name. So I will find the private VPC ID again right here. So I will replace this one. Here is I will give the correct name. Now I will run this to get the private VPC ID. So you see that ending with the EC2 so this is the private VPC ID. So the second one is the private VPC ID. So the first one is, we can consider that will be public VPC ID. Alright, so I will copy the public VPC ID and I will replace here the second one here. Peer-VPC ID is the for the public VPC ID. So the first one is the private VPC ID. So private VPC ID is this one, right? So here I can copy this. So we will run this command right now to create that VPC peering connection. So here between these two VPC, so we create the VPC peering connection. So alright, now we run this command. So here connection name is xfusion-vpc-peering. So that has to be the same as here. Where is that? xfusion-vpc-peering. Alright, so we are ready to run this command. So I will run that command right now. So here the status is initiating request. So we need to accept the VPC connection request. So how to find that? This command is not finished yet. After we creating the VPC connection, we have to accept the request. You see that if the prior VPC is in a different account, we have to accept the connection. So let me run this command to accept the connection. So here we need to give the VPC peering connection ID. Okay, so I will keep in here. So VPC peering connection ID is here. We change with the orange color. Alright, so here I need to replace with the correct value. xfusion-vpc ID. Sorry. So I will remove this XXX and I will give the VPC peering connection ID right here. So I will replace right here. So let me accept the request. So now, okay. So here also provisioning state, CIDR is provisioning status, and message is also provisioning state. So we had to wait around maybe 1 minute. So let me find again how to check peering connection status. Let me modify that prompt. So I will run this to check the status right now for the peering connection. So you will see that here now code is changed into edit status, and message is also changed into the edit status. Yes, that's great. So okay, now we jump to the here number 6. We have to configure route table to enable communication between the two VPCs, because we need to understand this first. Because when we communicate into VPC, there will be like a reversible communication like this. We have to be able to send a request from the public VPC to the private VPC anyway, like that. And we have to reverse from the private VPC to the public VPC like this. So this is from public to private, and this is for the from private to public, right? You see the arrow direction is from private to public. This one is from public to private. So let me change the color. All right, so okay, so to communicate like this, we have to create two directions. So to configure the directions, we have to set up with the route tables. So that's why we need to configure route tables of the two VPCs, to enable communication between these two VPC, right? So okay, how do we do that? So we need to get the route table ID of the two VPC. So let me find how to get route table list of AWS VPC for peering. No, I don't, from the CentOS terminal. Let me find like this. All right, so This is for the route table ID. So here is, alright, that's great. So we remember this, ending with that EC2 is, wait, EC2 is the private VPC ID, right? So this is the private VPC ID. So EC2 is mapping with this route table ID. So this is the private VPC route table ID. So I will keep somewhere. This is the private VPC route table ID. Alright, so I will also give the VPC ID name right here. Okay. Okay, so the top one is the public VPC ID. Let me move right here. And the route table ID is here, the left one, ending with a 00B41. So we need to keep it carefully. So this is the route table ID of the public VPC. So, okay, now we got the public route table IDs of the both VPCs. So we need to add a new route from the public VPC to for these directions. Sorry, from the public VPC to private VPC. So how do we add that? So how to add route from public VPC to private? Okay. We need to clarify of AWS and AWS. Right. Okay. So we run these commands. So before we run, we need to check it out carefully. So route table ID. So this is our public route table ID. So public route table ID is right here. I will copy this value and I will replace that. Okay. And destination CIDR range. So destination CIDR range is, where is our destination CIDR range of the public? That has to be, you know, this is destination CIDR range is means we have to give the CIDR range of the private VPC. So private VPC CIDR range is here. We already record that one, so I will replace this one right here. I think that's the same. Oh, sorry. I will copy this value and I will replace right here. Okay, so we'll do VPC peering connection. So connection ID is here. I will copy this value and then I will replace right here. So now we will create a new route. The direction is here from the public to private. Remember this. And after that, we will do for the private to the public direction, right? So now we create a new route. Alright, so return value is true. That's great. So now we will change the direction. This time we have to go from the private to the public VPC. So this time I will run this. So here also the same. Route table, this time route table is for the private VPC. So private VPC route table ID is this. I will copy that value. And then destination direct CIDR block. So this time we have to give the public VPC CIDR value. So public VPC CIDR value is I can get from here. You see? And this is the public VPC CIDR range, right? Okay, so I will copy this here. Ending with the AC9 say is the public VPC. AC9 say is the public VPC. So we can consider this CIDR block range is of the public VPC, right? So I'll replace this value. And then we need to give the same VPC peering connection ID. So that one is the same. value. So now I will run this command. Okay. So the return value is true. That's great, right? So we added 2 routes for those 2 directions, right? So now we will keep going for the number 7 here. We have to test the connection. So here, the first thing we have to add the route.ssh.public key to the public EC2 instance to authorize to make sure we are able to access into this instance from the AWS clients. So let me copy all this sentence and let me find in this Google search bar. So, okay, sorry. How to add. So here from So actually we have to run this command and to access into the EC2 instance. So before we run this command and to add this public key to the public EC2 instance, so here we also need to update the security group of the private EC2 instance to allow the ICMP traffic from the public default VPC CIDR. So let me check how to check SG security. We need to check the security group list of the private EC2 instance. So let me check that security group list of the private EC2 instance. So private EC2 instance name is right here. And to be more accurate, let me give the correct name. So of AWS from the CentOS terminal. Okay, let me run this command first. So we get the security group ID of the private VPC. So we need to update, we have to add the new inbound rule and to allow the ICPN traffic from the public default VPC CIDR range. So okay, let me copy this sentence and let me find right here. Okay, so the first thing is we need to this is security group ID list. That will be the same output, right? So here we need to find the public default VPC CIDR range. So CIDR range so this is the public VPC CIDR range. That's the same right here. And 172.31.0.0/16. So right, okay. So now we have to update the security group rules because we have to allow the ICMP access, right? ICMP traffic from the public VPC CIDR. So so I need to run this command. So here is we need to give the correct security group ID of the public VPC. So public VPC is CIDR, security group ID is this. I will copy that value and I will replace it right here. So protocol type is not TCP, that is not SSH, that is ICMP, and the port is -1, and CIDR. So CIDR is VPC CIDR range. So VPC CIDR range is here. We need to give the public VPC CIDR range. We should not give the private VPC CIDR range. Oh, sorry, not that one here. Oh, where is that? Right here. So CIDR range. Okay. All right, that's great. Oh, this is the private VPC. Oh, sorry. I see it wrong. Actually, this is not the public VPC security group ID, not that one. This is actually here, xfusion-private-vpc EC2 Instance ID, right here. You may also need to update the security group of the private EC2 instance. That's why. So this is a private EC2 instance security group ID, right? So and then we configure for the ICMP private access from this public VPC, right? Okay, now I will create this. So here we need to give the correct values here. This is not security group ID of the public VPC. Actually, this is security group ID of the private VPC here. Here, private VPC EC2 instance. Here, xfusion private EC2 instance. So you need to give the correct value. But we were trying to access to that EC2 instance from this public VPC, using ICMP method. All right. So now I will run this command. All right. So we successfully configure for this security group. Let me get the public IP address of the public EC2 instance. We're trying to access from the public EC2 here like this, public EC2 instance to the private EC2 instance. So private here, wait. So we will do communication right now. Private EC2 public EC2 instance to the private EC2 instance, right? Okay. So to communicate, let me get the EC2 instance ID first. How to get the AWS EC2 instance? It's an ID of VPC from CentOS. So let me run this command. So VPC ID name is, I will give the from here. So VPC ID, let me try to find the public VPC EC2 instance ID. So this instance ID is for the public VPC, right? So here, so we have the EC2 instance ID of the this public EC2 public VPC. All right. So now we will find again for the private VPC. So I will change the VPC ID name. So VPC ID name of the private VPC is right here. I will copy this value and I will replace right here. Now this time we will get for the private EC2 here, private EC2 instance ID. So where is that? So here. So they are different, not the same. Alright, so now here we do this communication here. So this is the private EC2 instance ID, and this is the public EC2 instance ID. So okay, after we get in the IP address, after we get in the EC2 instance IDs, so now we're trying to get the how to get the public EC2 instance IP address of public EC2 instance from the CentOS terminal. Alright, so okay, so we can run these commands. So we get the public IP address of the public EC2 instance. So how do we now we get, how do we connect to from this public EC2 instance to the private EC2 instance? So before we connect, I think we need to push the SSH public key using EC2 instance connect. So here we had to do that. This will enable you to ping the private instance. So we have to the private instance from the public instance. So this process is like this. We have to ping the private instance from the public instance. So this is a public instance, right? This is a public instance, so this is a private instance. So to do communication, we had to do like we had to make able for the SSH access into this public EC2 instance first. And then we had to ensure that we can ping the private EC2 instance. So before we run the ping commands, so we need to try to access into the public EC2 instance. Just now we are on the client host, not on the public EC2 instance. So we need to try to enter into public EC2 instance first. So okay, so we need to push the public key. So when you check out the ls-la /.sh, so you will see the public key right here. So this is a public key, and so this is a private key. So you can read that public key using cat and id _rsa.pub. So you will see that. So this is the SSH public key. Alright, so we need to push this public key to the public EC2 instance here. So like this. So we need to push SH public key to the public EC2 instance. Okay, that's great. So how do we push that? So let me find that related comment in the Google. Let me copy it again this. So I will find. Okay. EC2 instance or AWS from the CentOS terminal. So we have to run these commands. So here push the key. So here also instant connect and send SSH public key. That's great. So instant ID is here here instance ID is, we can get from here, public instance ID. Alright, so here public EC2 instance ID. Instance OS username is, we need to give the correct name here. Instance username is EC2-user. We should not give the CentOS. And then public key find path is here .ssh/id_ic.pub. That's correct. And available zone is that's no, we don't need to give that. I think so. To be accurate, I think we have to give the correct available zone. So I think this is not correct. Probably that must be. So let me check it again right here in the new tab. How to check the region and zone or a specific AWS EC2 instance from the CentOS. CentOS terminal. Alright, let me find that. So I will check this command. So I will need to replace with the correct instance ID. So here correct instance ID is this. I will replace that and I will run this command. So here you see us-is-1b. So now if I run this command, I get into trouble. So I need to replace with the correct value. So now it's time to run this command. Because the reason why I run this command is to send this public SSH public key to the public EC2 instance of the public VPC, right? So now I will run this command. Okay, so here this data is true. So now we can try to enter into the public EC2 instance using SSH. So now I can run this command. Where is that? Yeah, I can run this command. Sorry. So here we will copy the ID and then we will try to access with this public key into the EC2 user, and public IP address is here public IP address I can get from here again. So this is public IP address of public EC2 instance. So I will replace this correct value. Now I will run this command. Is it correct? Oh, info source copy ID. Oh, sorry. No, we will not use SSH copy ID. We have to use wait is that? Yeah. Actually, we don't use copy ID. We will use directly access using SSH. So I will run this right now. So problem is maybe port 22 is not open in the EC2 instance. So I think I have to check that security group list again. So how to check if port 22 for SSH access in AWS EC2 instance. So instance IDs I will give the. So we have different, when encounter one more challenge from the CentOS terminal. So okay, let me troubleshoot. So So let me run this command. So let me start this. Okay. So security group ID is this. So I think instant IP. Okay, anyway, let me run this command. So instant IP is here. I can copy from here. Sorry, instant IP is this. This is the public instance IP. So I will do that. So this command is not found. Let me refine the command again. From the CentOS terminal. Okay, let me run this. So security group ID is this. Let me replace that one. Okay. Now we check for port 22. Okay. Okay, so this is empty. So the problem is here again. So when we're trying to access into the public EC2 instance using SSH, so now we have to add that and use inbound rule. So here add new inbound rule for SSH access for public EC2 instance. EC2 instance. So alright, so how do we add that? So I had to find it again. So here so we have the instance name. So here I will copy the public EC2 instance right here. Alright, so let me find that. Okay, so I will run this command. Okay. Here security group ID is again. I will copy this and I will replace right here. Not that one. Yeah, this one. So protocol type is TCP and port is 22. So our public IP address of the CIDR range. So I will give the EC2 instance public IP range. So here EC2 our public IP. Wait. So I need to give the correct number. This is not correct. So how to check again? How to check EC2 instance CIDR value? Public EC2 instance. So instance name is. I will copy this and I will run off AWS from the CentOS. So that would be 0.0, /0. Anyway, let me run this command first. here CIDR range is this, so let me give this correct value. So okay, I will remove this public IP address. So that one is not the same like this. This is VPC IP range. So we need to give that correct EC2 Instance CIDR range. Okay, now I will run this. Okay, let me run this command. Okay, now let me try to access into this public EC2 instance using SSH. So here I will try to access this. Oh. Why I cannot access into there? Something is really wrong. Something is really wrong. Okay, let me copy this and I will ask here. What's wrong here? Here, why I cannot access into public EC2 instance? So like two primary issues preventing your access there. You're attempting to a public key instead of private key. Oh, yes, that's true. Oh God, crazy. Oh, again, sorry. So I had to run this command actually. Oh, error again. So subnet ID and get a CIDR range. Maybe CIDR range is not correct. Okay, I get a subnet ID right here. So I will replace right here. Let me find that CIDR range for the subnet. So I will remove this. Subnet ID is this. Now I will run this command. Okay, let me check it out again. Oh yeah, that's just correct. Why not? This correct CIDR range that I gave there. So what's wrong? What's wrong? So these are probably IP info. IP is also the same. So what's wrong right here? So let me give that. it's like you successfully gather the kernel details in your system based on your output. So send your public instance with no. See public URL in configure.me. So let me run this. Oh, IP configure.me. Add the correct. You'll find IP. Okay, so let me run this again. So now that's okay. So it's right. Before I run this, oh damn, so it has to be like this. So the error is CIDR error. So let me run that again. Alright, so now let me connect with the private key right there. Yeah, so this time, oh, permission denied. Permission denied, permission denied. Permission denied error again. What's wrong? 2134. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes, as a family is at least on. Okay, let me copy this error. So let me add right here. So wrong key pair. Let me run this. Okay. And how to verify your key unit. So this I don't create the key name actually. I don't create that. I use I push EC SSH public key into public EC2 instance. Oh, sorry. Availability zone is okay. Let me copy it again. So maybe this public key is expire. So instant ID is I will copy from here again. Okay. So where is that? So I will replace that. So this is not correct. This is 1B. So now I will run this. Okay, that's great. So let me try to accept with the SSH. Yeah, so now we are on the public EC2 instance ID. So finally, I think we can check the verification. So here we can do like this, private IP address. So private IP address is where is that? Let me find that again right here. How to get the private IP address of private EC2 instance. So do I have the private EC2 instance? So I will copy this or AWS from the CentOS terminal. So so I will run this command again. So I had to exit again, sorry. Here I don't have the private IP address. So let me run that again. Okay, so this is a private IP address of the private EC2 instance. So let me run this command again. So I will run this SSH access. Actually, this ID RSA key value is temporary, not permanent. So that's why that one is expired. So finally, I can paint from there this private EC2, public EC2 instance to the private EC2 instance. So let me check this. So yeah, finally we can directly access from the public EC2 instance to the private EC2 instance. That's it. So let me check it out here. Check, confirm. I think that would be okay. Yeah. Oh, I think this life is a little bit harder. So I will start here. Yes, no issue faced. So the key point is, we need to run. Where is that? We need to run this command again and again to push the public key to the private EC2 instance. If we don't run this again and again, the public key on the EC2 instance will be disappear, easily. So we need to run again, and we have to try to access into private EC2 instance from the public EC2 instance using SSH. So finally we can try to connect with using ping, ping. Yeah, so that's it. Finally we get the IP address, private IP address of the private EC2 instance. So yeah, a little bit harder, but anyway, if I can do it, you can also do it too. That's it. So thanks for watching. See you in the next coming video.